Hey fam, this is Austin Robertson, creator, editor, and producer of Babylon Bee Radio. Bee Radio is a labor of love, and if you want to show a little appreciation to help keep it going, become a supporter of the Babylon Bee today at babylonbee.com/plants. And if you use promo code BeeRadio, you can save 20% off for a limited time.
Factually inaccurate.
Morally correct. This is Babylon Bee Radio. Our top story. A foolish man offered a solution to a problem his wife was having in an ongoing series of unforced errors. Jeff Myers interrupted his wife Rachel as she described an issue she had with her sister and audaciously posited she
just call her up and talk it over.
His suggestion was met with a blank stare.
I can't believe he offered a practical solution to this ongoing problem I've been having. Call up my sister and tell her what I was feeling? Who does he think I am? Someone who calls up her sister and tells her what she's feeling?
Jeff claims he was only trying to be helpful and didn't realize offering to help solve a problem was a problem. He recommitted to trying harder to not provide practical solutions to issues his wife was having unless she wants him to, in which case he'll do his best to discern in the moment what course of action is best to take.
I think I'm getting the hang of this. 15 years in, I still forget not to make suggestions when Rachel brings me a problem she's dealing with. I mean, I want to help, but sometimes not offering to help is the best way to help, except when it's not.
Rachel ultimately told Jeff not to worry about it and quietly made a mental note of the infraction to pull out in a discussion in 3 years. Anheuser-Busch, the company that makes Bud Light, has suffered weeks of stagnant sales following a simple marketing campaign celebrating breathtaking female woman Dylan Mulvaney, who is totally a woman.
That ain't no woman.
In response, Bud Light has worked tirelessly to revive its brand and appeal to loyal customers by adding mullets to every can.
These mullets prove just how well we know our customers,
said Bud Light Marketing Director Stacy Mulberry Saffron while explaining the strategic value of focus groups and social media surveys.
We're confident customers will return in droves for this refreshing can of business in the front and party in the back.
Mulberry Saffron added that while adding a legendary head of hair to each can rose to the top of ideas, a few other brilliant customer-centric ideas proved to be close contenders, including raw meat in every can, enhancing the recipe with a hint of Ted Nugent saliva, a camouflage can, and chewing tobacco flavor. The marketing director has not ruled out implementing these secondary ideas for the next Super Bowl commercial.
Oh boy, I was just raring to get my paws on a gut-chugging can of that Bud Light after after not drinking it for 27 days straight,
said one customer representative of Bud Light's focus groups.
And me and the old lady are more chipper than gators in the daycare, being that they done repented of that whole girly boy blunder.
Bud Light lost another swath of customers after the can was revealed to be wearing a butch lesbian mullet. Whalen Corporation has proudly announced the appointment of their new Chief Diversity Officer, who just so happens to be a white woman. The company says that it values diversity above all else and made this hire to show how serious they are about it.
Diversity is our strength, but not when it comes to me and my position as Chief Diversity Officer. My whiteness and privilege will serve as a glaring example of the dangers of whiteness and privilege. I'm helping.
As the new Chief Diversity Officer, Sarah Grace Smith will be in charge of making sure a job applicant's qualifications are never considered, only their skin color and gender. She will also be responsible for ensuring that only racial and sexual minorities are featured on the company's marketing, and that all white male employees will be made to feel as hated and unwanted as possible until they ultimately leave the company. Skeptics argued that Mrs. Smith's appointment was a glaring contradiction, akin to having an obese personal trainer or a blind taxi driver. But according to sources, those same individuals have since been let go by the company.
I'm here to make this place diverse and inclusive, and anyone that's got a problem with the company shelling out vast sums of money to hire me to send out unnecessary emails and mandatory compliance trainings is racist.
At airtime, Smith stepped down, claiming,
"My work here is done,"
after making sure the entire company only employed Indigenous trans women with disabilities. Part-time professor of archaeology Indiana Jones has reportedly changed his name to Land Stolen from Indigenous Peoples Jones out of respect for Native Americans who had their land stolen from them by white colonizers.
I've recently become aware of my hurtful past as a thief of precious artifacts from indigenous holy sites, and it's time for me to make amends. That's why I'm changing my name to reflect the reality of this American landscape. We must bring attention to the pain and suffering the indigenous peoples have suffered ever since the white oppressor drove them from their rightful land.
When asked if Dr. Jones would willingly give up his own land to members of the local Mohegan tribe, he fell strangely silent. Dr. Jones, whose friends call him simply Landy, says he no longer wishes to be seen as a treasure hunter obsessed with filling museums with ancient artifacts.
Artifacts don't belong in a museum. They belong with the oldest living descendant or culturally relevant government body.
When asked if Dr. Jones would return the priceless Cross of Coronado to the Spanish government, he fell strangely silent. Henry Jones Sr. then rolled his eyes, reminding his son, "We're in the dog land stolen from indigenous peoples." Gay Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg has announced he will be taking another 6 months of parental leave following his adoption of a section of I-95 south of D.C.
My husband, Chasten, and I are proud to announce we have adopted a highway,
said the history-making first Gay Transportation Secretary Buttigieg, who is gay.
We look forward to the much-needed personal family time we will enjoy in the coming months and ask for privacy during this beautiful chapter in our lives.
Pete and Chasten told reporters they will step away until November to spend some special family time with their new highway, including litter removal, grass cutting, and chest feeding. Buttigieg promised to return as soon as possible to continue his fight against racist roads and bridges. In an ongoing effort to reduce the state's carbon footprint, Governor Gavin Newsom announced California will require all toddler race car beds to be entirely electric by the year 2030.
Kids are literally spending 8 to 10 hours every night in a race car. The environmental impact of such horrific negligence is incalculable. This insanity ends today.
The initiative, which will cost an estimated $800 million, will force parents to submit documentation proving that all race car beds are electric.
We're starting with race car beds, but we aren't going to stop there. Next, I'll tackle the scourge of race car shopping carts that assuredly kill billions of trees every year. No child will ever steer a race car down the produce aisle on my watch. California will always be on the forefront of these real, practical climate solutions.
Tommy Jones, a 3-year-old race car bed owner, was excited to hear about the proposed initiative.
My bed goes vroom!
Said Tommy, his mouth full of cheese. Newsom has also proposed a $500 million initiative to ensure that all Hot Wheels cars are 100% electric. The top female scientific minds from around the globe have come together in hopes of once and for all figuring out what the purpose of the strange lever that makes the car lights blink is. According to reports, these trailblazing researchers are determined to stop at nothing to unravel the secrets of this elusive vehicular contraption.
The blinking lights appear to be some type of signal or indicator, but it's not like this could be in any way useful to others outside the car. Right, ladies? It's a complete mystery. No one of my colleagues can think of a single reason a driver might want to share information with others while operating heavy machinery at high speeds.
Many of the female scientists concluded that the lever was similar to a vestigial organ, like the appendix, that at one point in the past may have served some unknown purpose but is of no use now. Others concluded from their experiments that the strange lever is simply broken because it only turns the car lights on one side at a time. According to sources, scientists even tried having their husbands disassemble and reassemble the device in hopes of learning its secrets. Unfortunately, the effort proved to be fruitless.
The men keep spouting some nonsense about it being called a turn signal, but as we all know in driving, you just turn whenever you want without any regard for the presence of other drivers whatsoever.
Adoy.
Just as the female scientists were close to making a breakthrough, they were sidetracked as the car's dashboard lit up with a bizarre, unknown symbol that had the appearance of a magic lamp. Vice President Kamala Harris was honored with an honorary degree from America's premier clown college for her hard work clowning around the nation's capital. Harris joins a pantheon of great American clowns such as Lori Lightfoot and John Wayne Gacy.
It is an honor to be respected by this great institution of clowning.
VP Harris said humbly after donning traditional clown garb and squeezing a bugle horn.
Who doesn't love a clown? Am I right? I just love clowns.
Dean Sippy the Cosmic Space Clown pinned an oversized novelty flower corsage to her lapel and shook her hand with an electric handshake buzzer, as is tradition among the most respected of clowns.
Today, you are no longer Kamala Harris, Vice President of the United States. You are henceforth Kammy the Laughing Clown. Hooray!
Kammy the Laughing Clown reportedly laughed wildly for the next 3 hours as an audience of clowns looked on in abject terror. Kamala Harris's clown persona is officially registered with Clowns International and is available for birthday parties. Fox News has announced that they will fill their primetime slot with a computer monitor that will sit there and play Tucker Carlson's live stream on Twitter.
We're on in 3, 2... Oh, crap, it's buffering,
said cameraman Reggie Johnson.
Do we have anyone left who knows how to talk while this thing loads? Is Gutfeld sober?
After shuffling their primetime lineup 73 times in the last few weeks since firing Mr. Carlson, Fox News finally decided to just admit defeat. Thus far, Fox News viewers have hailed the decision as a massive upgrade.
Things just haven't been the same for me since Fox fired Tucker. It was like a knife to my heart. I've just been watching Paula Deen reruns and, waiting for my grandson to teach me how to do the Twitter so I can watch Tucker on my cellular. I'll sure be glad to have him back.
At airtime, Fox attempted to improve the appeal of the computer monitor by adding a blonde wig. North Point Community Church pastor Andy Stanley has announced a brand new sermon series in which he will forego his usual preaching style and instead just beat up a Bible with a steel chair.
I told you to unhitch your faith from the Old Testament. Then I abandoned belief in scriptural inerrancy. Now, I'm gonna up the ante,
said the 65-year-old megachurch pastor as the lights went down and music played.
I'm about to finish the job with a steel chair.
At the sound of a bell, Stanley then began smashing the chair repeatedly down on the open Bible on stage. Sources say the crowd cheered with delight as Stanley then performed an elbow drop, followed by a devastating pile driver to finish the scriptures for good.
My church has to know that I'll never let the Bible get in my way,
said a sweating Stanley after the fight.
If you ever quote scripture to me again, get ready for pain.
He then brandished the steel chair threateningly. What was left of the tattered Bible was hauled off stage on a stretcher. A fight schedule has since been posted on the church's website listing upcoming challengers as the Dead Sea Scrolls, Fox's Book of Martyrs, and Jesus himself. After many heated debates over matters of theology, doctrine, and church carpet color, Lutherans have all finally agreed to split and form his or her own individual synod.
When you think about it, this was inevitable,
said Randy Huner, president of the newly formed Get the Drums Off the Chancel Synod.
The great Martin Luther instilled in us a love for protest and reformation. I hope everyone will join me next Sunday in the one true Lutheran church where there will never be rock and roll drums allowed on stage, as God intended.
It's about time this happened,
said Sandy Mueller, founder of the new Stop Cutting the Donuts into Quarters During the 9 o'clock Fellowship Hours synod.
All God's children must have the opportunity to enjoy good donuts and a decent coffee in the morning. This is what Luther would have wanted.
Early reports indicate that over 77 million synods have now been formed across the world around the finer points of liturgical style, music, and whether or not to change the ugly mural in the narthex that Ethel Barnes painted in 1952 and no one really likes.
The ELCA has opted to remain intact as they aren't quite real Lutherans anymore anyway.
B Radio features officially curated content from the Babylon Bee, scripted, voiced, and produced by Austin Robertson. Additional voices in this episode from Bettina, Jarrett, Jason, Kristen, Robin, and Travis. Subscribe to B Radio on YouTube, Spotify, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts, and be among the first to hear brand new episodes.